Brothers and sisters, good morning to you. Today we are reading from James chapter 3. The pandemic in Hong Kong is still very serious. 8,764 cases yesterday in Hong Kong, record high again. It has been record high. Every day it broke record. We never experienced that before. So for Hong Kong government, we still adopt this COVID zero policy. That's why in March we will do 3 times compulsory testing for every person living here. May God show us grace. So every one of us may receive that guarantee of life. I think our government has done really well. We continue to pray for government measures. It's not easy. It's hard, actually. And the budget was announced yesterday. And it really is going to bless a great deal on the Hong Kong economy. It's trying to relieve the poverty, the situation we are in. May God give our government wisdom and love. We must pray for our government. May God give grace. Facing this pandemic, everyone is affected. But we should be loving and we should be wise to face all this. I do expect and anticipate this time of our life will become our golden memories. We must remember how God has protected us. This is the time that we will truly encounter God. So during this time, going through all this, we must remember that God is right here with us. We must see God. And do not just see how bad this situation, this pandemic is, or how inconvenienced we are. Some industry are facing a big blow to their business. We must help them, try to relieve them. But we must also see that God is here. Regardless of the situation, God is here. Let our eyes turn to God and fix our eyes on Him. Walking through all these difficulty, adversity, these will become our golden memories. Don't be paranoid after this period of time. May God help us. In faith, we continue to trust in God and go forward. In today's this chapter really reminds us we must tame our tongue. The title I will give to this chapter, we must control our tongue. Control our tongues. We must tame our tongue. Actually, I got this title from chapter 1. Chapter 1, verse 19. Quick to speak, quick to listen, slow to speak, slow to wrath. James 1, verse 19. We must be quick to listen, but slow to speak, slow to speak. Do not be rushed. Do not speak in emotion, in the heat of your emotion. Don't be affected by the negative feelings or thoughts in you, and then you just, just burst it out. And then chapter 3 verse 1. Chapter 1 verse 22. Verse 26. If anyone among you thinks he is religious and does not bridle his tongue but deceive his own heart, this one's religion is useless. Chapter 1 verse 26. If anyone does not bridle his tongue, however religious he is in vain. In our world today, so James was talking about his time. He was talking to the people of his time. You face pressure in politics, in finance, in economy, and persecution in religion. After that, they will face great persecution. And James said, if you do not bridle your tongue, how many times you worship God, whatever you do, how much offering you bring to God is in vain. Same for us today. The Word of God tells us, during this pandemic, the adversity we are facing, if we do not bridle our tongue, tame our tongue, in our religion, in our finance, however much we do, it will be in vain. However many times you come to church and then how much offering you bring to God is in vain. It's useless. We will gain nothing. Then that means we will gain nothing. It doesn't profit us. And in chapter 1, it's also say, we need to, our words, our faith must come with works. Pure and undefined religion before God and the Father is this, to visit orphans and widows in their trouble and to keep oneself unspotted from the world. Verse 27 of chapter 1. And then verse 22, be doers of the word, but not hearers only, deceiving yourselves. And verse 25, he who looks into the perfect law of liberty and continues in it, this one will be blessed in what he does. In chapter 1, it says that we must do the word, doers of the word, and also bridle our tongue. Be very careful with our words. And in chapter 2, our faith must come with works. Do not just say you have faith, but then in action wise, you eye on money and then you show partiality. Our faith must come with works. He used 3 analogies here. The first one, the faith of demons. Demons also believe in God, but their faith is dead. Faith without works is dead, just like the faith of demons. Faith that comes with works, just like Abraham and Rahab. Their faith came with works. So their faith is demonstrated by their works. So our faith must come with work. That's why we should not show partiality. That's how we applied it Now we are in chapter 3. Continue on the title of chapter 1, Control Our Tongues. I will divide chapter 3 into 2 paragraphs, verse 1 to 12 and 13 to 18. Verse 1 to 12, the first paragraph. Your tongue is most crucial, most influential. Do not use your tongue to curse. Verse 1 to 2 is a warning from James to us. My brethren, let not many of you become teachers, teachers. Let not many of you become teachers, instructors, knowing that we shall receive a straighter judgment. When you teach others, you will face straighter judgment. Verse 2, for we all stumble in many things. If anyone does not stumble in word, he is a perfect man, able also to bridle the whole body. We don't want many of you become teachers, because they shall receive a straighter judgment. Because we all stumble in many things. Verse 2. When we stumble in many things, if anyone does not stumble in word, he is a perfect man. That means we stumble in our words. We stumble in many things. And it's quite impossible for one who does not stumble in word. Or say we stumble in many things, we stumble both in our word. If he does not stumble in word, he is a perfect man. He does it. And he will be able to bridle his own body. He can control himself. When they face all kinds of difficulties, they need to swift to listen, slow to speak, and slow to wrath. Is it okay to be angry? Is it right? Does it mean that we never get angry? I'm not telling you just yet. This Sunday, I will preach and I will share on this. I will talk about the Beatitude. Blessed is the gentle in heart. The third one in Beatitude. But I will save it till Sunday, so remember to watch it. When we can bridle our tongue, we are a perfect man. But it means that every one of us stumble in many things. There is no one perfect. If you teach, you speak a lot, you talk a lot, you will receive straighter judgment. Verse 3 to 12 continue on this topic. How a tongue can affect us is really of great power to affect us. And it's the hardest to control. 3 analogies here in verse 3 to 6. The first one, indeed we put bits in horses' mouths that they may obey us, and we turn their whole body. So horses need bits in their mouth that they may obey. Then we can turn the horse's whole body. If you can control horse's mouth, you can control the horse. So the tongue is the kind of like the part that control the whole body. And also for the sheep, look also at sheep, although they are so large and are driven by fierce winds, they are turned by a very small rudder wherever the pilot desires. Verse 4. Even so, the tongue is a little member and boasts great things. The tiniest member, but boasts great things. Most influential part, just like the rudder of a ship. When you turn this very small rudder, then the whole ship will go wherever the pilot desires. When we move someone's tongue, the whole body will follow the tongue. The power of the tongue is great. The third analogy, see how great a forest a little fire kindles, and the tongue is a fire, a world of iniquity. The tongue is so set among our members that it defiles the whole body and sets on fire the course of nature, and it is set on fire by hell. Verse 5 to 6. Tongue is a fire. It's like a forest. How great a forest a little fire kindles. So tongue in our body is a world of iniquity. It can affect your whole body. It can defile your whole body. And it's also set on fire, the course of nature, and it is set on fire by hell. This the influence of this. So here the course of nature, that means the course of our life. So it's a bit like a wheel, we just go on and on. How does this wheel move forward? How is this wheel started? It's set on fire by hell. So our tongue affects a lot. If you do not control your tongue, then from hell it will drive your life. Then your whole body will be in darkness, in hell, in death, surrounded by the power of darkness. Wherever you go, you will defile wherever you go. Wherever you go, the fire will burn that place. You burn yourself up, and you burn people up, and you burn the whole forest, and you burn the whole world. The circle of your influence, everyone around you will be affected. They will be driven by the fire from hell. The whole forest will be destroyed totally. Wow, the tongue is so crucial. Most influence, affect most. We want to control our tongue. But it's hard to control our tongue though. It's hard to control your tongue. The verse 7 and 8. For every kind of beast and bird, of reptile and creature of the sea is tamed and has been tamed by mankind, but no man can tame the tongue. It is an unruly evil, full of deadly poison. Our tongue can hardly be tamed. We tame all kinds of bees, birds, and they have been tamed. Yes, if you want to tame them, yes, it's possible, you can. But no man can tame the tongue. You know, when we have circus, you go to the zoo, we can't really do, you know, the elephants can do all kinds of special act, right? When we go to the circuits, James is reminding us, this giant animal can be tamed, but you can't even tame your little tongue. Even now, no man can tame the tongue. But it's unruly evil, full of deadly poison. Why would we say that? Because we use our tongue to curse others. Teachers, oh teachers, what do you say from your mouth? It's so powerful, but you do not tame your tongue. Your tongue will cause lots and lots of distractions. You give cursing and not blessing. Verse 9, from verse 9, with it we bless our God and Father, and with it we curse man who have been made in the image of God. Our tongue, our mouth, we bless our Father, our God. But we also curse man who was created in the image of God. Human being is made in God's likeness. If you curse human being, you are cursing God, because they represent God. Now we understand, right? We have preached on the 5 commandments out of the 10. That man is made in God's image and likeness. So towards God, man represents all creation. And towards all creation, we represent God. Homebound brothers, I explain further on this topic. I'm writing part 2. I truly believe that mankind is made in the image of God, and man represents God. God gave us His image, His likeness. That's why we honor our father, our mother. That's why we do not curse others. Do not despise others. The poor man comes into your assembly and say, you sit there, you stand there, you sit at my footstool. But God will judge him. He's made in the image of God. Out of the same mouth come praise and cursing. My brothers and sisters, this should not be. Can both fresh water and salt water flow from the same spring? Verse 10 and 11. That's why we stumble in many ways. We can curse others, but we hardly can praise others. We must control our tongue. And then the second paragraph, 13 to 18. Second paragraph. It's quite hard to understand. Our words should have the meekness of wisdom, verse 13. Okay, you hear this, I'll share my sharing on this chapter and then my Sunday service. You will understand more. Blessed are the meek. Here it says the meekness of wisdom, verse 13. That means it means gentle word. Verse 13, who is wise and understanding among you? Let him show by good conduct that these works are done. Who is wise and understanding among you? Let him show by good conduct that his works are done in the meekness of wisdom. Verse 13. Meekness of wisdom. Or we could translate as well as into humility of wisdom. Or the better translation is humility in wisdom. The humility in wisdom is meekness or humility. Good conduct that his works are done in the meekness of wisdom. Good conduct, actually, good conduct in the original text means good conversation or behavior. But the root of the word conduct is conversation. Good word, good conversation. So it's about our tongue. It's the topic that we have been on. Yes, truly, it's hard to tame your tongue. Who is wise and understanding among you? Those who are wise and understanding can control his tongue. The tongue is impossible to be tamed. How do we tame our tongue? Be wise and understanding. Be wise and understanding. If you are wise and understanding, then you can control it. If that's you are, then you can have good conversation in the humility in wisdom. If you are wise, then speak in the humility in wisdom. But if you have bitter envy and self-seeking in your hearts, do not boast and lie against the truth. Verse 14. This wisdom does not descend from above, but is earthly, sensual, demonic. For where envy and self-seeking exist, confusion and every evil things are there. Verse 15, 16. Oh, teachers, those who are masters, you think you're wise. That's why you teach others, right? Because what you say is right. So you keep talking so that people will listen to you. Where does your wisdom come from? You say you have wisdom. Where does your wisdom come from? Maybe your wisdom comes from demons. If you have bitter envy and self-seeking in your hearts, be extra careful. Do not boast and lie against the truth. Verse 14. You must read the word of God, the wisdom that gives you freedom. If you have bitter envy and self-seeking, your wisdom is from demons does not descend from above, but is earthly, sensual, and demonic. Verse 15. Just like a fire will burn down the whole world, is the fire from hell and driving the course of our life. People around you will be harmed, but the wisdom that is from above, verse 17, is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, willing to yield, full of mercy and good fruits, without partiality, without hypocrisy. Now the fruit of righteousness is sown in peace by those who make peace. 17 and 18. But the wisdom that is from above. As teachers, when we talk to brothers and sisters, be very wise. As a cell leader, you must be very wise. Our wisdom must come from above. If you just to vent your emotion, what you say, your interpretation is about I. You will bring envy and self-seeking and harming the whole world. If you say it in church, it will cause division in church. If you say such things in the society, it will cause division in society. If you speak such words at home, you will cause division at home. If you say such things at workplace, you will cause division in a workplace. That, from fire, you drive the course of life. Do not do this. If that's your case, please read the Bible more and ask God of wisdom. And God will definitely give you wisdom. If you ask of God, He will give you. You must seek wisdom from above. What you say will bear 9 fruits. Which 9 fruits? Here it says here, 17, pure, peaceable, gentle, willing to yield, full of mercy, good fruits, without partiality, without hypocrisy, fruits of righteousness. 9 fruits here, verse 17 and 18. Brothers and sisters, in our present world, we face many pressure. We definitely have to control our tongue. Do not speak negative things, criticism or judgment. If something that you cannot stand it. We look to God. God is here. God will act. Just like when we are going through this COVID. We want COVID to leave as soon as possible. But not by our mouth, but by God. We cannot destroy and, eliminate the COVID. We can't. It's the act of God. We pray to God. When you face injustice, unjust, something that you cannot get over, you must look to God. Do not say anything that will cause harm. Yes, in my life, the last practice for us is to tame our tongue. We may put aside our pride. Even though it's hard to put aside our pride, we can. If you are insecure, you are able to put this aside. But it's hard to tame your tongue. It's hard for us to control our tongue. In the heat of emotion, we want to say this, say that. I want to follow my conversation, but not to I want people to follow my conversation, not to follow others. May God help us. We must overcome. We must have the wisdom from above. Our speech must be in the meekness of wisdom, humility of wisdom. May God help us. That's the end of our message today.